AITAH for making a vegan cry and have a meltdown. Let me explain it all. I 33F am a vegetarian. I do not care about what other people eat. My BF eats meat, the only deal is that he cooks the meat because after all these years being vegetarian, the smell does repulse me a bit. Anyway, earlier today I saw a post about how meat eaters, as they were called, were being compared to pedophiles. I was disgusted by this, and told the maker that he is the reason that we as vegans and vegetarians get attacked. A woman attacked me later on, saying I was a murderer because only vegans were pure. I explained to her that I get milk where the calves are not removed and eggs from chickens that have more roaming space than my dogs do in our apartment. Well, that was clearly not enough, and it was somehow my fault that baby animals fell without their mother and how I was eating babies. Not bad meant, but when there is no rooster. No babies. And the owner has no rooster. I got annoyed at her and asked her if she even knew about everything she was talking about. I asked her if she even paid attention to her shampoo, conditioner, makeup, nail polish, etc. If her products were even vegan. Because if she was going to attack other people on their diet choices, she was arguing with several people, she had to first make sure she was perfect. Apparently, that is where it went wrong. The lady stopped responding. I just shrugged it off until I got a PM several hours later. A friend of the vegan lady lashed out to me how her friend had a mental breakdown, finding out that her makeup and other products were not vegan. The vegan lady apparently was throwing tantrums, and her friend couldn't calm her down. This is where I might be the AH. I told the friend that it was the vegan lady her own fault. She decided to verbally attack people on the internet on a very inappropriate comparison, and she was calling people murderers. Now she could join the murderer club for not even knowing about it all. And that maybe if she stopped judging people on their diets, her meltdowns wouldn't happen. The friend called me heartless, a monster, an AH, and that I would burn in hell. And I should apologize. I don't think it is my fault that the lady didn't even know that a lot of products contain animal byproducts. I also don't think I should apologize for sharpening her knowledge. AITAH? Could I have brought it on a bit less brute? Or at least apologize? Should I apologize?
AITAH for not letting my daughter see her biological father. I, 35M, have been married to my wife, 26F, for 3 years, and we dated for 2 years before that. We have 2 kids, a daughter named Bella, 6, and a son named Liam, 2. Bella was from my wife's previous relationship with her ex-boyfriend, Dallas, 26M. They broke up when Bella was only 3 months old. From what my wife told me, Dallas got involved with drugs and started committing crimes to support his habit. He's been in prison ever since. I started dating my wife when Bella was about 1 year old, and I've been the only father she knows. We moved about 3 hours away from my wife's hometown, and I initially thought Dallas had never tried to reach out. Neither has his family. We've established a full life here, settled in a nice area with other young families and kids. I consider Bella my daughter as much as anyone can be. I love my little cupcake, and she loves me back. People often tell me how much she looks like me, which I absolutely love. Everything was going great until Dallas got released from prison on parole. He reached out to my wife about a month ago, asking to see Bella. My wife initially ignored him, but he kept pushing. I've only seen pictures of Dallas since before he was in prison and was a nice-looking guy back then. Now he's covered in prison tats, with a snake tattoo up his neck, and dresses like a teenager. Dallas started by saying he wanted to see his daughter and that my wife had been wrong for not answering his letters. I had no idea what he was talking about, as my wife told me that Dallas had never contacted her. Then, he started throwing insults at my wife, saying, she thinks she's all perfect now with her Benz. I just bought my wife a new Mercedes SUV, and he's just trash, but Bella is still his daughter just as much as she is hers. I stepped in and told Dallas that he wasn't going to insult my wife in front of me and that he still needed our permission to see Bella. Dallas got upset and said he didn't need anything from me and was doing this out of courtesy. He also mentioned he could take us to court if he wanted. Not wanting to upset an ex-con even further, I just told him go ahead and do that and we left. It's been a month, and we haven't heard anything from Dallas since. I guess he realized that lawyers cost money, and he doesn't have any. I kind of forgot about the whole situation until last week when I noticed my wife had been distant and quiet at dinner. After we put the kids to bed, I asked her what was wrong, and she said she's been thinking about Dallas and feels maybe we should let Bella see him. I was shocked she even brought it up and told her no, absolutely not. Dallas is a violent criminal, and my daughter is not having any contact with him. My wife seemed like she wanted to say more, but didn't. She's still been distant and quiet with me, and I know it's because of this. Am I wrong for saying no to our daughter seeing Dallas?
AITAH, for talking to other people. I, 28F, and my child's father, 31M, we together on and off for 2.5 years before I got pregnant. During that time we both made mistakes in the relationship, but one thing he continually had an issue with was infidelity. To the extent that he even had another child. My main mistake was sticking around and being too stupid in love to leave. He never really stopped cheating, especially with the mother of his child, and apparently once I got pregnant she became even more irresistible to the extent that she was the first one he told about our child literally a week after I told him, and he had an affair with her till the 6th month of my pregnancy, when she got angry at him over something to do with their child and decided to expose him. It was a dark time in my pregnancy, but I made it through. We had only just moved into our forever home 4 days prior, and she was well aware. But she was not the only one, and truth be told, he treated me poorly throughout the pregnancy. There were some good times, but mostly bad. Fast forward and I labor for 4 days, before having an emergency C-section. It was horrible. I caught an infection and had to stay in the hospital until it cleared, then we were cleared to go home. I was of course an emotional wreck with a tiny baby and just him for support due to having moved away from my family and friends to be with him whilst preg, my choice. We had many arguments in this time, a lot of them relating to how I didn't do enough for his older toddler, whilst my scars were still healing and I wasn't sleeping, and truth be told, she shouldn't have been around our newborn, but I love her like my own, and 3 weeks and I was just so drained that I told him I didn't want to be with him anyway. He went to pick up his daughter that day, but must have gotten confused and instead decided to have sexual relations with her mum instead. I found out 2 weeks later after going through his phone one night, as I just had a weird feeling, and he has texted her saying how sexually satisfied he was after their tryst, and it broke me. Truly broke me. I confronted him and he deleted the messages in front of me and said I had no proof that's what happened, so now what? Since that day things have not been great as we were still living together. My mental health has been horrific since pregnancy already, and I was looking after a newborn on my own 95% of the time as he works night shifts. If you're wondering why I didn't leave, I was on maternity pay, and trust me, I tried. And my circle are incredible people, but they realistically could not have accommodated me and my child, and I felt guilty that I had gotten myself in such a mess. I didn't want to burden others with the consequences of my actions. We have talked about making things work again a few times, but he doesn't change. It's not just the cheating, but also in the way he treats me. I've reached a point where I'm resigned to the fact that no matter how much I love him, he will always be who he is and I can't make him better. In fact, by ignoring his behavior I'm making us both worse. At the weekend I logged into my old Hinge account to just doom scroll cause I love to look at handsome people. I forgot to pause my account and when I came back I had a few likes and one of them really stood out to me, and we have been having a flirty back and forth ever since. Literally only about 1 message a day. I told him I'm not interested in anything serious either, and as the full-time caregiver for my child, that's the honest truth. I don't have the time. I'm back at work and focused on making money so that I can move out and me and this man don't have to live together anymore, which should take me to about April. He decided to go through my phone and now he's angry that I won't give our family a chance and that I've destroyed my family and don't appreciate all the sacrifices he's made for me and our child. Has he made sacrifices? He sure has. Are they things I asked him for? Not really, although I genuinely do appreciate them. Has he done what I need him to do, so I know he's changed? Definitely not. But now I feel so guilty, because he's just moping around and crying. He looks so sad. It's one person, but have I messed up? TLDR, my child's father cheated endlessly and I don't want to be with him. I started speaking to someone else even though we still live together. Now he's angry that I'm destroying our family.